when you have a team that perhaps maybe feels disheartened or disenfranchised to a degree, and they're not receptive to that kind of, you know, back and forth, so to speak, of like, what do you think you should do? I don't know, you tell me. Or like, they feel disempowered to a degree. How does one approach that situation where I guess there's not much of an investment? There's kind of like they're just doing their job, they're plodding along, they feel disempowered perhaps. How do you turn it around?
Oh wow, that's a loaded question, isn't it? There's so
Guess so.
many things that I could go there with that, because it's not just one answer.
Mm,
It's not just let's just have a talk with them and find out what their goals are and what their motivations are. It's bigger than that. It's so much bigger than that. If we think about, there's a great leadership framework that is called, from Patrick Lencioni, and it's called the 5 dysfunctions of a team. Okay. And he talks about, how do we move from a dysfunctional team into
mm,
a highly functioning team. And as I said before, people are complex, yet put them into a team that becomes even more complex, okay, can be really difficult. So the very, very first thing that we want to do with that, Luke, is we want to build trust. Trust is the most important foundation of a highly functioning team. So to me, that would be where I would start, is how do we build trust? How do we work together
mm,
more? How do we become, um, where they are open, where they are, might even be, how do I add value to your role? How can I best support you? What do you need from me? Okay, it can be those simple questions, and then delivering that. But what I think is missing in that situation is that there's a lack of trust. And
mm.
trust will break a team like nothing else.
Yeah, wow. So, what does one do to develop trust?
I knew you were going to go there. Trust is built by small actions. Okay, so even think about it, even from a friend perspective, or from a relationship perspective, or from a team perspective, even with a child, even with your children. Trust isn't built by the big things that we do. I can't take you on a holiday and then all of a sudden you trust me. Okay, that's just not how trust is built. Trust is built by those small moments. It could be picking up the phone to say, Luke, I know you've had a rough couple of weeks. I just wanted to check in. Okay. It could be
Mm,
asking about what you did on the weekend. It could be finding out the names, ages, and schools that your kids go to. It could be finding out what they did on the weekend. What are they passionate about? There's this great exercise I do with teams around building trust, and it's called Life as a Child. And it's really non-intrusive questions that ask, how many siblings do you have? Where did you grow up? What was your first job? What was your worst job? What was your biggest challenge growing up? And I just did this session on Friday last week with a group of leaders. There was 12 leaders. And out of those 12 leaders, 3 leaders actually shared with us their biggest challenge growing up was they all spent a lot of time in hospital. Now, I've never experienced that kind of connection before. There's normally connection with, I used to dirt bike, I used to live in the country, I grew up there too, or whatever. But out of the 12 leaders, 3 of them, their biggest challenge was that they'd spent a lot of time in hospital. It's those little bits of connection that help us find out more about you and more about them and their family and their interests. That's what builds trust. Okay. Um,
mm,
it could be a text to say, "Hey, you popped into my mind today, and I just thought I'd reach out and say happy Friday."
yeah, wow.
That's how we build trust. It's not the big things, it's the little things. It's about delivering on your commitment. If I say I'm going to be there next Friday at 12 o'clock, I'm going to be there next Friday. If I say that I'm going to deliver this piece of work for you, I'm going to deliver this piece of work for you. It's all of those small moments that help us as humans connect with others and feel like we've got each other.